if you're driving or you're a lorry driver and you're having a sandwich or something, you probably can't remember what you actually ate because you're concentrating on your driving things and you're actually just doing something.
It's like watching TV.
And subconsciously, you wouldn't even know. If somebody then said to you after half an hour, what was that in that sandwich? You'd say, I don't know.
Hello and welcome to Sweet Liberation for a podcast today, like a new podcast that we haven't done before from my kitchen.
Hi, well, I'm Luke.
And I'm Nabila, and it's just lovely to be with you again. It's been such an amazing few months of doing this podcast on Sweet Liberation, on audio and on sugar-free TV. What an absolute honour to be able to serve everybody. It's been amazing.
It's been really good, and it's been so amazing, the fantastic guests that we've had on. I'm so grateful to the people that have given up their time to talk to us about the things they're passionate about.
Exactly. They're passionate about really about making a difference in the health of people around the world. We've met people from all over the world. I mean,
everywhere, all reaches of yes, on every corner of the globe. That's the
corner of the globe. It's been amazing. And so really one of the things that keeps coming back to me is really the idea that we are kind of on a cusp of a movement in the world of people taking control of their health. Do you saying that?
Yeah, well, certainly. And I think that everybody that knows and follows the people that we've had on our podcast is certainly very much engaged in that and taking their health seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been really an eye-opener, and it's been an education. We've been on this mission now for the last 3 years, and to meet so many kindred spirits in this mission has been amazing as well.
And as we've been doing it, we've been actually trying different things and actually finding that we get them healthy and sort of long grabs. We've been doing it every time we do a podcast. We sort of wind 2 or 3 years off age, I think.
So I think we should give away our age.
Okay. Well, I like to say that I'm 60 next year because that's what some of my little old lady friends that are sort of in their 90s, they always said, I'm 90 next year, so I'm going to do exactly the same thing. So, yeah, I'm 60 next year.
You're about 60 next year, and I'm 51 this year. Wow. So, I'm both grandparents.
We are.
And one of the things I think that's been really an eye-opener for me over the last couple of years is taking a look at lifestyle as a whole rather than kind of piecemeal. Is that something that you've experienced as well, that kind of shift? From sort of just doing one thing here, one thing there, but sort of looking at yourself as a whole, your mindfulness, your wellness, as well as your physical health.
Well, I think it's like we've said before on the podcast, it's the aggregation, isn't it, of gains. If you're doing lots of little things, that actually when you add them all together, they become quite a big thing.
They become quite a big thing, exactly. And those small shifts are so profound.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things I wanted to talk about today is the idea of mindful eating, mindfulness. And I know that we met one of our guests, Kiki Athanas, a few months ago, who is fantastic. We adore her. And she was talking about the role of mindful eating and how she's approached it. And I think this is something that we kind of connected with her on, which was the idea of kind of connecting with your body and being in touch with that. But we've sort of taken it one step further because you've been kind of practicing mindfulness, haven't you, Luke, for a while now?
Yes, I have. And I'm not quite sure how the mindfulness that I've been doing relates to eating, but certainly becoming more conscious about what I'm eating, having a little look at what's in the things that I eat.
Yeah.
But certainly there are lots of people like, one of the people I'd like to have on our podcast actually is Paul McKenna, who actually is also a doctor. But Paul McKenna always talks about being mindful in the way also that you eat, putting the knife and fork down between as you're eating to slow the process down and things like that. Some of those little tips and tricks I found really useful.
Yeah, I mean, for me, when you said, about relating mindfulness to eating, I think it's something maybe that men suffer from less than I would say women. Most women I know would really touch on the idea of eating, emotional eating.
Oh, I see. So in that way, you mean where the female gender are actually mindful that they haven't had a piece of cake for? Am I telling the right way with that? Is that
going in? But yeah, I think the thing is about eating for a lot of women, and or when I speak to other women about it, is that it can really be connected with soothing and comforting yourself. So this kind of relationship, especially for mums that are really, really busy, and you kind of go through your day and you get to the end of the day and you want to reward yourself with food. Now, some people do the same with drink. So they will find something which switches on that reward system. And it can be, you know, it might not be at the end of the day. It might be throughout the day that you are finding yourself needing that comfort. So then by finding, I don't know about you, but on my journey to mindfulness and why this disconnected from food is that actually over the last, I'd say 6 years, particularly, being really tapping into hypnotherapy. I became a hypnotherapist. Incorporated some of that mindful technique, those libel techniques I was learning through the hypnotherapy training into my midwifery practice, and also incorporating that into my daily life. So practicing mindfulness has really helped me to connect with that anxiety feeling that you get when you're seeking comfort. Does that make sense? Is that something that men can relate to, do you think? Or is that very much a woman thing?
Yeah, I don't think men really go down that route. I think men are functional. No, I think men, well, you can't make it like old people. I'm sure people do, or I'm sure people feel the dopamine that they get from having something to eat and that pleasure. But I think a lot of men are quite different biologically, of course, to women, but insofar as it's more of a functional thing. I think we're thinking, right, I've got to grab something to eat, or it's lunchtime, get a snack, or breakfast is this. Also, I think a lot of men are very boring in their actual eating habits. You know, a lot of men will be quite happy having, say, the same cereal that they've had for the last 10 or 20 years every day.
It's like they're old friends.
Well, almost every man I know. I think that if you said to a man, do you want a bacon sandwich or something like that, or, you know, whatever it might be, an egg sandwich, oh yeah, I'll have an egg, because they're kind of used to that.
I see.
You know, so
yeah, I can see that. But I've met men that comfort eat. I have found that there are men that will, particularly people that drive a lot for their living. So I was at one point doing research and everything. So I was driving a lot, and I was stopping at motorway station, service stations, to buy fuel, but also to buy, and I'll find myself buy snacks.
Yeah.
And I used to see all the truckers going in and getting their bars of chocolate, and so it was during the pandemic actually. So there were a lot of delivery drivers, and predominantly those were men. And so I would be inside these petrol stations, and they would be stocking up on their comfort food, big snacks, and then taking them in pasties, chocolates, crisps, and then taking them into their trucks, and that's the sort of on-the-go food that they will be having. Yeah. So I don't know, maybe they do, but they relate to it differently.
I think so. I think they do relate to it differently. I think they're thinking of it as fuel, and they're thinking it as not. And actually, I don't know what everybody thinks about this, but I personally think that if you're driving, or you're a lorry driver and you're having a sandwich or something, you probably can't remember what you actually ate because you're concentrating on your driving things, and you're actually just doing something.
It's about watching TV,
and subconsciously you wouldn't even know. If somebody then said to you after half an hour, what was that in that sandwich? You'd say, I don't know. So it's the same with a drink of anything, water or a fizzy drink. Yeah, I not sure people would relate to that, but certainly I know people certainly men I know actually, but quite excited over a bar of chocolate.
That's what I'm saying.
Or a bar of chocolate.
Yeah.
Gone out and they've sat or lay on the sofa, put the television on, and then they enjoyed the unwrapping of that bar of chocolate.
So it's less of a comfort and more of a reward, maybe, for a man. At the end of the day, I deserve this thing.
Oh, I don't know. It could be that. It certainly could be. I have to do a bit of research, but you mentioned my mammal friends. I mean, they're mammal friends. Mammal is actually men, middle-aged men in lycra. Mammal.
Cool.
And my cycling friends, we do wear lycra, and we are middle-aged. We are the sort of tights brigade that you see out on a Saturday or Sunday being really annoying. On the road, you're in your car, you can't get past them, and there's half a dozen or more, sometimes there's 12 or 15 of us go out. Even worse when it was actually with the club, and there were sort of 40 of us. Now imagine that's a string of 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 20 deep. That's long. That's probably of 2 juggernaut lorries, and on the Dorset sort of Somerset country lanes, you can't get past them.
Oh my goodness! So what happens in this group of middle-aged men in Lycra in terms of snacking? What's going on when you're going out with this cycle crew?
They don't really snack. I mean, there are some of the guys that have sort of an energy bar or a gel or something like that, but you generally stop and then have toast and coffee or a sandwich of some sort. But generally, they're not big snackers. They're the wrong type of people because they're still quite busy with their sport. And the thing about anybody that's in the sort of sporting world is sport is hard enough without actually fueling badly. It's actually easier to eat slightly differently or change some of your habits. That's a much easier thing to change than changing your training regime.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I think actually one of the things that I suffered from when I was, this is a little story you might not have told you, but when you're a cyclist and you're consuming something 2,500 calories a day, what can happen is if you stop cycling for any period, you don't stop eating. You're still fueling as if you were still training.
That happens to an athlete.
Oh, I can put a stone on in a month.
Wow. Yeah. No. Well, I can relate to that for a completely different reason. Right. I think, and so I don't know, but on the journey and sort of back to the mindfulness, is really kind of being much more in tune with the needs of my body and knowing when to identify and name when I'm actually feeling distressed or stressed versus needing to go and find something to eat to comfort myself. Right. So that's what I was doing. For people that know my backstory, is that I suffer from a chronic inflammatory disease. I suffered for 20 years or more now. It's 22 years. And I also had major surgery in 2017, and I nearly lost my right foot through complications of the surgery. And in that year that I was recovering, because it took me a whole year to recover from that surgery, I was eating a lot of, people were very kindly bringing me sugary snacks and cakes when you came to visit me and things like that. And I was comfort eating because I felt terrible. And it actually delayed my healing. It wasn't a great thing to do. And then I put on a lot of weight. And so when being a healthcare professional helps in as much as you do know what you shouldn't be doing, at least, and what you should be doing. So I was like, well, I need to cut out all of this, high processed food, and I cut out the sugar as the first thing, and then started eating the kind of healthier and lower GI foods, not in a very controlled way, but just generic way. And the weight just dropped off. It just dropped off so quickly. And then I realized during that time, the amount of comfort eating that I've been doing in my year. And I was feeling stressed and distressed is kind of one of the things that will send a trigger, a signal, which feels like children have this actually, is that they say they've got tummy ache, when actually what they mean is they've got anxiety, and it's a feeling somewhere in the middle of their tummy. And it's not pain, it's a sensation. They say pain. And actually they can also mistake anxiety for hunger, because it felt in the same areas, all this sort of abdominal sensation. And so kind of the mindfulness has helped to sort of know when am I actually hungry, or when is it that I just need comfort?
Yes.
And so that is being able to disentangle that is very central to having a happier, healthier lifestyle. 10 years ago. In terms of your well-being?
Yes, definitely. In terms of well-being and in terms of the type of things that I'm eating, because, not all calories are equal. And that's one of the big things that, I like to talk about in terms of, when I was training and cycling, racing as a cyclist, and we talk about things like, I used to eat 5 jam donuts really easily with a cup of coffee. Now, as we know, a jam donut may have a certain number of calories. It might have the same number of calories as, say, a piece of salmon and a salmon salad with some walnuts, for example. Now, we all know that salmon and a salad with walnuts being the same calories as a donut and not to say they're not eating calories. One is going to be nutritious and good for you, and the other one has zero nutrition. And so, yeah, I think I've learned that's one of the things I've learned over the last 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, that for me as well, I think this for me has been a journey of more than, I would say, more than about 10 years as well, because before I had my last child and I had to go through kind of a lot of lifestyle changes then just to get pregnant, because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able, because I'd be on medication and still on medication. So lifestyle was the only thing I could do in order to improve my chances. And actually it was very successful and I was absolutely fine. But so I knew that actually lifestyle and nutrition would play a part, but you know, you can slip into a habit. Yeah. And I think this is the longest period of time in my life that I've been able to sustain something. And I think part of it has been that compassionate approach to myself and to my well-being. And when I look back at pictures of me 8 years ago, I look younger now and I did then.
Wow, yeah.
And I think the mindfulness has definitely.
Oh, yeah, definitely. When I think, and some of the changes that I've made also that as you go through this process and make those changes, and actually you look back and you think, I don't even know why I had things. I'm talking about white bread and I'm talking about pasta. Yeah. I can't remember the last time I had bread or pasta. And actually, I don't really miss it now.
Well, I'm not. I said you don't like this bread, but I'm not going to lie. I do actually love a bowl of pasta. Unfortunately, for me, pasta does not love me back, and I end up like in arthritic pain for days, if not weeks, after having it. And so it just doesn't love me very much. But I'm from a South American family and we know how to cook very well when it comes to pasta. So I'm not, but I have actually made some alternative dishes which have been just as delicious actually, because I focus on the sauce being amazing. So sorry, I had to sidetrack up onto pasta because you sidetracked me. The South American in me, I can't help it.
Right.
Yeah. The contradiction. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. So so for me, I think the way I've been eating has definitely played a role in me feeling younger, for sure. Do you feel younger?
Oh, yes, definitely. I think for me, the big change is the sugar, because removing the sugar is doing a number of things. It's not, and I didn't know any of this, that the people that we've had on the podcast are fantastic, and they've educated us in terms of, you know, what sugars do to things like your cells, what it's doing to your blood sugar, you know, obviously what it's doing to your teeth, what it's doing is feeding things in your stomach.
Yes.
You know, all of the things that sugar feeds that you don't really think, I noticed that a few years ago, my eyes were sort of, you know, and I think that they refer to that as glaucoma, don't they? Yes. And that's sugar, and that's a sugar-related thing. And I know that diabetics actually have a problem, certainly with their eyes. And a lot of things related to that, high sugar levels and income circulation.
Exactly. And I think one of the things that I'm really keen to sort of focus on as well is the idea that actually people say, well, just cutting out sugar isn't going to fix all the problems. You go, no, it isn't going to fix all the problems. That's true. Mm. But it's not going to harm any of the problems to give up high processed, high sugar food. There's not a single thing where you go, ooh, you must go on a high processed, high sugar diet for your benefit of your health. Nobody's going to say that. If they are going to say that they're not, you know, they're deluded. That no one can say that. So cutting these things out of your diet isn't just about thinking, well, I'm going to, you know, we don't know if people are going to cure conditions or not. But the point being that they're certainly not going to make anything worse by improving what they put in their body. And it may make them feel better, a lot better. And with some conditions, certainly things like type 2 diabetes, good management of that type 2 diabetes by taking a really robust approach to good nutrition that's sustainable means that, you know, you can sometimes even come off medication. And we had Dr. David Alwyn saying just that, what do we?
And someone to you who suffered with a lot of inflammation.
Yes.
And stopped, you know, and said to 5,000 of his patients, was it?
Yes.
Stop, you know, try and change, you know, stop
reversing. Yes. Yeah. High blood pressure. These are sort of lifestyle-related diseases that we're seeing more and more of now that are becoming more the norm, that were never the norm for our great-grandparents or even our grandparents. But now this is, this is becoming everyday thing. We're seeing children with type 2 diabetes. And I certainly observed in my clinics as a midwife over the last sort of decade that we were seeing younger and younger women coming through with all types of things that we really didn't see women. It's young women that are giving birth majority.
Yeah.
We are the oldest the woman that I ever looked after was in her late 40s.
Okay.
I know that some women can have babies in their 50s. It's much rarer. But so we are still talking about a young population group. But we were seeing this young population coming through with the high blood pressure even before they'd had their babies and booked in for their pregnancy care. And type 2 diabetes. These are things that if you just round the clock back 20 years, we never saw. So, and then of course, the kind of obesity it increases and things like that. So all of that stuff I certainly was seeing as a professional in my job, and it was alarming that it was happening so quickly as well.
Yeah.
And I'll just think that stress does play a factor in the decisions that people make, which is why mindfulness for me has been a great tool. And this is something that we've even brought into Sweet Liberation, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And I think there is something to think about this as well with the catch-22. And it's good that you touched on stress, because stress is known to stop or obviously creating a situation where it's harder to lose weight. But you've got the catch-22, because then if you're reaching out for something that's a sugary snack to give you that relief, as it's like, then you're then in that vicious circle, aren't you?
It's really sad, and it's punitive as well, and there's a lot of kind of self-loathing around dieting. That entire mindset around deprivation, I think, is not really wired to be able to manage that on the long term, and it's a very negative thing. So I think where people are seeing results, but it's about sustainable results, I think it's great to help people to improve their nutrition. But if they're constantly on this yo-yo path of, then that's not going to be sustainable long term, is it?
No, you don't want to be doing that. You want to make little changes. And when we talked about cake earlier on, in terms of the mindfulness, but of course we're all about still having your cake. Yeah. And having it sugar-free.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We're not stopping anybody having cake and having all the sweet treats. That's the important thing. So it doesn't feel like anything that we do is anything diet-related, as you say.
No, it's like, it shouldn't, for it to be sustainable, it can't be in isolation. And I think that's the other problem is with, particularly if you've got a family member that's on a special diet, and everybody else is just, eating the jam donuts and all the things, and that one person is left out. They can do it for a few months and do it for a few weeks. But is that something that just isn't part of the family culture? But the rest of if that person eventually is going to fall down, they're going to go to a birthday party, there's going to be an invitation, there's going to be something. And then they'll be fall off the wagon, as such, so to speak, because they haven't made those almost cultural changes within a household that need to happen. But if you say to someone, this is a lot of people I've taken care of as well in my healthcare professional career, but if you say to them, well, okay, you're just going to eat a salad bowl for the rest of your life and you're never going to have a sweet treat, they will fall into a deep depression because they just see that as so far removed from what they're used to seeing. But actually, if you say, right, these are some things that we can help you remove. And then when you start to see results with that, you go, oh, well, that's easy. And then I can just incorporate this and I can make the recipe this way rather than that way. I like this recipe, so how can we make it in a more healthy way? And those are the sorts of things that go, so at least the food looks recognizable to them and that they can still enjoy the things that they love. If there's family that love a Victoria sponge, for instance, they might want to have that at the weekend, but let's do it in a way that's, that's less harmful, or do it in a way that has none of at all. If you're doing it without the sugar, then there's not going to be a problem with the tea, with the sugar spike.
Sugar spiking, yeah.
Exactly. But it's been such a pleasure. I think to me, in the last 3 years of this project, there's become a passion that we are so really committed to. And I think the thing that I've been so surprised with is just what a movement there is around the world of people who want to take control of their health. I think the pandemic put that shift back onto us because we weren't going to the doctor as much because we couldn't get the appointments. So we were stuck at home. So we were having to do the tests at home.
Yeah.
And we were having to, it's almost like you had the control in your hands. So what do you think? What do you think?
Well, I think also that I think people are starting to come, as you said, coming out of the pandemic where we're all a bit more sedentary.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly some people have had, been at home, not moving around very much, but eating. People were actually eating more. The supermarkets did very well during the pandemic. It was really, and people were buying all the things. And also, the other thing I noticed actually at the time we went shopping is all of the offers were ended as well. There was nothing on offer at the supermarkets. There's no, buy one, get one free anymore. So it absolutely made a killing with the supermarkets. And of course, we were buying because it was the only time that I remember thinking at the time, wow, it's actually quite a treat to go out to the supermarket because you were going out. You would think that was going out for the day, and actually going doing the shopping. Even the supermarket seemed to be quite empty.
Yeah.
You did feel a buzz. But yeah, I think that coming out of the pandemic and people then thinking, well, what now? How do we improve our health?
Yes.
And get that weight off. It's very hard to do the sort of traditional running things, and people often do that for a while and then give up. I think people generally say around the 18th of January is the sweet spot of the new year. By the 18th or 20th of January, most people have forgotten, going to the gym. But
yes,
what we're saying is our suggestion is sustainability.
It's sustainability and making small shifts that they become so part of your life that you don't even realize that you've made a change. Those are the best changes because they're forever changes. That's this. It's just like, oh, well, that wasn't. Oh, well, I could do that. And it's that conversation you can have with people, and you can give a suggestion. They're like, oh yeah, I can do that. Oh yeah, that's easy. When you're approaching it from that's easy, oh, I can do that, then you just know that person's going to be fine.
Yeah.
They're going to stick to this. And that's the thing that I think we are offering. So let's talk about the challenge that we've got coming up, because I think that's the thing and kind of the reason and the idea for us to help people make those shifts and make those shifts quickly. We've got a challenge coming up.
Yeah, I mean, the challenge is it's all about having you with us for 3 days, and it's just for an hour a day, having a lot of fun, and also walking through some of the steps in order to make that change.
Exactly. Those 3 hours a day of 1 hour a day for 3 days.
Yeah.
Come to us, and we are going to help you to really understand, first of all, why it's important to look at the amount of sugar that we're eating. Some people still think it's not a problem. And yet we know statistically that we're eating in the UK double the recommended amount of sugar that we should consume on children and adults. So it's a real problem. So giving that foundation, that education, that foundation, and then showing just really achievable things that could be done straight away to get results.
Yes. And having a look at what the path is, and also talking about what is the result that as the people listening, the viewers, what is the result that they want from becoming sugar-free?
Yeah.
And then helping people on that path.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. We are so excited about it because we've got some amazing contributors to the challenge. And it's something we want to really give back. It's a free challenge, so anyone can recommend. And that's all the other things that we really wanted to make a shift and to show people, look, we're going to be available to support everybody, regardless of their background, regardless of their means. Come, we're going to support you in this. You can do this. You can get started on this. So it's a free challenge.
Some right demonstration in the child. We'll also talk about things where, things that people have perhaps failed on in the past to help them get over the back bridge.
Yes.
And also things where people have had, people in the family, and they've sort of said, oh, not another run of these little fads or anything like that. So again, helping with that, making those steps easier.
Yes.
So super excited.
Yeah, really excited. And I think we're really going to be able to impact and touch a lot of people's lives. And that's being the goal, really, of our mission, to help families across the world with sugar. And so Are there any things that you kind of, any takeaways? And
I'd like to also touch on the fact that what we'd like people to do is help people start forming a habit.
yes,
And that habit is ditching sugar, looking at the alternatives, and actually starting to have fun with it and start baking. And that's the thing we're going to be doing. So, sorry, the question was,
any gold nuggets, any things that you think that have been real takeaways from the last few months and from the last 3 years, and any inspirations for people to come to the challenge that you really want?
Yeah, I think the thing that, well, certainly is a nugget for me really is to try and get some, what in America they call it leverage, don't they? But I don't know the term being getting leverage on yourself, as in start looking at the things. For me, this is the golden nugget. Look at the things that are bad and look what could be better. And then once you start implementing that change and seeing how easy it is, as I had done, so that was my story. It was quite easy to swap sugar out, in my coffee, and stop having, all of the sugary treats and switching to sugar-free. And I'm not totally sugar-free. I mean, if I go out and there's something that I want to eat, I'll eat it.
Yeah, but it's so occasional.
But it's so occasional.
It
does really make a big difference.
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly, and that's the thing. And it's just taking that balance. And yeah, so for me, it's like the habit, forming that habit. And for me, I think the gold nugget has been the eye-opening experience of seeing how many incredible people out there are looking to really take control of their own health. And I think the most empowering thing I've ever done is to take that control of my health back into my life, suffering from a very serious, a chronically inflammatory lifelong condition, but I've been able to manage that so well through lifestyle that I'm not saying, it's a cure for everything. No, it is not. But it's taking that control and that responsibility for yourself and for your emotional, mental, and physical well-being, and really, rather than handing that over to somebody else to make decisions for you, to actually say, this is my life, this is my health, this is my body, and I have a role to play in making myself well and making myself feel well and nourish myself to the best. And I think the thing that's been most exciting is to see so many people that are realizing and waking up to the fact that they do have so much control and they still have so much autonomy over themselves if they choose to take that path, that they will probably never look back.
Very well, yeah, brilliantly said. Yes. And I think one of the interesting quotes that I quite like that I read recently is look after your body. It's the only place you've got to live.
That's so cool. That is very, very true. I love that. So I don't think we can finish on a greater note than that. It's been an absolute pleasure, as always, with the Sweet Liberation podcast. We are ranking in countries across the world now, and people are listening in. We want to debunk and make sugar-free living really easy and fun for everybody, and to show everybody, the whole world, how achievable it is and sustainable it is. So with that said, we'll love you and leave you, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the Sugar-Free Challenge.
Register. There'll be a link
below this video, and we look forward to seeing you there.
Free registration. Bring your friends
and family, so that we can help you kickstart your sugar-free journey, and so that you can feel the benefit of the amazing benefits of taking control of your life, well-being, and your health. So with that said, we'll see you again on the next episode of Sweet Liberation.
Bye for now.